Phillies and Dodgers have gotten the winter meetings going. Jerry Dipoto has won Executive of the Year. Is he worthy of that? I'm going to break down his history with the Mariners here today. And I'm also going to give you my thoughts on our infield options right now, our backup catcher options right now. It's all on this episode of Mariners Daily. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Edwards, the host here for the show. If you want daily Mariners updates, consider subscribing and leaving a comment with your thoughts on what I discuss here today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Let's break down the MLB news here. The Dodgers have added Edwin Diaz. The Phillies have re-signed Kyle Schwarber. Let's start there. Kyle Schwarber gets 5 years. The 33-year-old DH has gotten 5 years and $150 million. I can't remember the last time that a DH has gotten this much money. Maybe JD Martinez getting right around $110 million with the Red Sox. That's possible. I yeah, Schwarber has played very little time in the outfield over the past 2 seasons. He is a DH, but an amazing hitter, an insane hitter. Over 700 plate appearances this past season, 56 home runs, a 14.9 walk percentage. That's insane. And consistently right around that walk percentage. Like, that is not an outlier throughout his career. He walks like crazy, and it's all about, can he make enough contact? And he has consistently. A 240 batting average this past season looks really bad, but a 365 on base, despite a bad batting average, is crazy. 563 slugging percentage as well. Speaks to the 56 home runs, backs it up. A 391 WOBA for him, 402 expected WOBA, a 152 runs created plus, 4.9 FWAR for a DH is so difficult to do. So difficult. And yet he did it. An amazing season, a well-deserved contract. Is it an overpay? Yeah, it's an overpay. But you're dealing with the Phillies, Dave Dombrowski, who runs a team the way he runs it. He generally is willing to overpay for guys like this. Look at Nick Castellanos, who's wasting away in their right field that they're ready to DFA him, basically. He's willing to do it. He's willing to overpay for the guy that he wants. Big deal. Big deal. The Orioles came in second. They offered 5 years, $150 million. That's crazy. I don't know if there were more deferrals in their deal or whatever. My guess is that Schwarber just wanted to stay with the Phillies. That's my bet. But good for the Orioles actually giving it a shot. They're looking to spend big, it looks like, this offseason. The Reds were also involved in this signing. However, the difference between the Reds and the Orioles is that the Orioles have turned their attention to other players, whereas the Reds were only looking to sign Kyle Schwarber because they thought he would bring in ticket sales. And that right there is a small little picture of what's going on in Major League Baseball right now. Cheap owners. And no, listen, I know the Mariners are not at spending as big as we want them to, but there are other much worse teams, like, say, the Reds, who are only willing to spend on a guy that they think will bring in ticket sales, not win games, none of that, not get them to the playoffs. No. At least we have an executive that's trying to win games. At least we have that. Fucked. Freaking Pirates, bro. The freaking Pittsburgh Pirates offered 4 years, 120 million. Not bad. Not a bad offer. Not enough to get it done. And really just it's a show face type of deal. Look, guys, we're trying, It's one of those deals that you don't really gain my respect whatsoever. In fact, it makes you look a little desperate and a little just stupid that you're not really thinking about the deals that you're making or offering, shall I say. Yes, Schwarber would be an amazing addition to the Pirates lineup, but so would majority of the free agents out there. And I would rather fill up an actual position on the field than DH from the Pirates. So the Dodgers have not re-signed, but brought in Edwin Diaz. This is the second year in a row where they've signed the top reliever on the market. This was less years than I was expecting. but still a lot of money. 3 years, $69 million for Edwin Diaz. I never expected the Mariners to go after him. I don't think majority of Mariners fans thought that either. Yeah, it would have been really cool to have Edwin Diaz back, but I definitely don't think he is a or should have been a priority. If we are spending this much amount of money, then go get a Eugenio Suarez. Plug up a position that you actually need covered. I think with Ferrer added to this bullpen, it's pretty complete. It's pretty complete. I mean, that's the gist of that. And the Dodgers just get richer with Diaz. He has been consistently one of the best relievers in baseball. 66 innings this past season as the Mets closer, a 38 K percentage, 8.1 walk percentage, a 163 ERA, and a 228 FIP. The bullpen was a big need for the Dodgers. They signed Tanner Scott last season. Now they've got Edwin Diaz. That is a killer 1-2 punch at the top of that bullpen. But I would say I think with our depth, I would still take our bullpen over the Dodgers. It's a great top half, but then Blake Tryon is a little iffy. Alex Vesia is good enough, but he's not like elite or anything. Give me Gabe Spire over Vesia personally. Diaz is a great addition for the Dodgers. Yes, it's kind of stupid that they did that they continue to do what the Dodgers do. Oh boy. But what are you gonna do, man? You got it. You could still beat them. You could still try. The Mets tried, and the Mets is an interesting situation. They offered Diaz 3 years, $66 million. That is 1 million less per season for that deal. Did he not come back to the Mets for them to counter or at least match the deal? Like I'm curious if he just wanted to go to the Dodgers. Or maybe he didn't give the Mets a shot. Maybe he didn't give them a shot to match the offer. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I would imagine that if he gave Steve Cohen the option to at least match the number of 3 years, 69 mil, that Cohen would have done it. Because what 3 mil? 3 mil is what we're doing here. That's where we're cutting hairs here. I just don't see that happening. It just doesn't feel like something Cohen would do or not do, should I say? So I'm curious. It doesn't necessarily matter, but I just found that interesting. That's just me though. Let's get into Jerry DePoto, man. Freaking Baseball America's Executive of the Year. I wasn't expecting this, but then again, I forget about this award, so maybe it's not that big of a boost. Jerry DePoto is entering his 11th season at the helm of the Seattle Mariners. They also have Justin Hollander as well in the GM role, helping run this team. They have combined traded for some extremely key players that have carried us to this point. As recently as Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez this past deadline to get us to the ALCS and almost to the World Series. Almost there. But the pieces they have put together to build this team is pretty impressive, and DePoto's fingerprints are all over the place. Like I said with Suarez and Naylor, he now wasted no time and re-signed Josh Naylor. That was number one priority, as it should be. He got it done. He traded for Randy Arozarena in 24. Great addition to the team. He traded for Luis Castillo in 2022. He got Matt Brash in a trade in 2020, Munoz in a trade. JP Crawford was in the 18 to 19 offseason. He another trade acquisition and then signed him to an extension, which is great. He's been a quality player for us, not a star, but a quality player. And then draft picks, they have signed the core of this team. They have added and extended Cal Raleigh, chief among them, the stud of this team, the MVP of this team. Logan Gilbert was another draft pick in 2018. George Kirby was in 19. Bryce Miller and Brian Wu were in 2021. We're seeing them emerge, and I really do believe Miller will get back to previous performances. I think he will be right around a 4 ERA, if not maybe a little bit lower. Really excited to see what he can do. And obviously, Wu is our number one. He's fantastic. And then an international signee in Julio Rodriguez in 2017. Dipoto has done a fantastic job in building a sustainable team right now. Homegrown, trade additions, doing everything we're supposed to. Munoz was good at the time. We have made him even better. I would say it's the staff as well that just creates this team as well as it has. And I think Dipoto is a big reason for that. Justin Hollander, the GM, had a quote. He said one of the reasons that Dipoto wins this award and one of the things that he's great at is empowering people to do their jobs and grow and try new things. And I've screwed up stuff over the years, says Hollander. And he's never come in and closed the door and said, like, what the you know what? It's like, let's learn from this. And that's something I've tried to learn from. I think that's a great quote. I think Dipoto can get a lot of flack, even from Mariners fans, which I get it to a certain extent because he's had his moments. He's had his very negative quotes before, but I think overall his processes are good, and that is what matters the most, is what your processes are. Listen, the outcome should follow, and I think it will eventually with Dipoto. And this offseason is so key. I mean, it's so key. We got to keep our foot on the gas right now. And if ownership could just give us a little bit more money to use, that would be great. That would be awesome. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think Dipoto has done an amazing job for what he has been given. He's done a fantastic job. And yes, going into his 11th season and just finally getting to the ALCS feels like maybe he isn't that good. It's taken him 11, 10 years to get to this point. Yeah, but some GMs never do. Some execs never get here. And what he has done, slowly but surely, building this team and holding on to his star players, been great. He's pulled a lot of the right levers. Did he trade a guy like Ketel Marte? Yeah. Yeah, we did. Do we want him back? Yeah, we do. Could he be a serious infield option? His name's getting thrown around a lot. And you know what? Maybe it's just smoke, but maybe there's a little bit of fire there as well. We'll see. We shall see. Polanco is still available. Donovan is still available. Brandon Lau is still available. Ketel Marte is everywhere. And the Red Sox and the Mariners look like the top two teams for him if the Diamondbacks do decide to trade him, which I think that they are willing not to trade him. I think that is a very serious option. I don't think they need to necessarily, but the D-backs are in a weird situation, and I'm sure they would like to get his money off the books and also get a couple top players in return. The two players I've seen the most talked about would be Cole Young and Bryce Miller because the D-backs want a key pitcher in return. I don't know what I do there. I really don't. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it depends on what your expectations are for Young and Miller. I mean, like I said, I think Miller can rebound. So Marte is 32 years old. Are we gonna do? Are we gonna do anything else though? Are we gonna? What's the other huge impact move? Like I said, Polanco, Donovan, Lowe. Those are all or Lau. Those guys are all good players, and I would love to see all three of them on the team. They're not Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte has been the best second baseman in the majors the past 3 seasons combined. He is just consistently produced an elite level. And that is not a player that should get traded for peanuts. We can't nickel and dime that trade. We can't throw a couple, small pieces together and be like, yeah, they take Luis Castillo and we trade, one of our low top 10 prospects and then we're good. No, it's a key impact players that need to be coming back in return from Marte, which is difficult. It's difficult to put that together and it's difficult to get rid of that. So listen, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's the high would be such a high to get to see Ketel Marte back with the Mariners and as good as he has been, get to see him impact this lineup, he would be an just immediate stud added to this lineup, which would be so huge. I don't think it's in super likely, but it's possible. It's very possible. Polanco, Donovan, Lau. Those are all key guys that could make a serious impact. Those are guys that Donovan, I think, gives us a little bit more to play with defensively. He's not amazing defensively, but he's definitely better than Polanco and Lau are. Lau and Polanco are DHs pretty much. Quality hitting DHs that can, you know, touch the field. They can play a little bit. They're not Schwarber level, but they're close. They're getting close. Donovan can play a little bit everywhere, a little bit outfield, a little bit of second base. He can touch third base, but I don't think they plan on playing him there quite a bit. If they do get him, I think he'll move around a lot. I think he's just a solid hitting utility player. So Cardinals have a lot of suitors for him as well. Polanco's got a couple teams looking at him. Lau's got a couple teams, especially since Schwarber signed with the Phillies. Lau's got a. I've seen his name pop up for multiple teams. The Orioles have pivoted to him as well. I'm curious to see what happens. There's a lot of guys out there, and I'd like to get one of those four. Give me one of those four players. I think that's super important for the Mariners going forward. We need one of those guys. Need him. Need him. Finally, backup catcher options. This isn't a deep dive or anything. This isn't a player profile on any of these guys. I did a deep dive player profile on Reese McGuire, who I think is one of our best options. Mitch Garver is obviously still out there, which he does have a higher ceiling offensively than McGuire does, but defensively he leaves a lot to be desired, especially as a backup catcher. So I don't know. I don't know about Garver. He'll be cheap. He'll be probably cheaper than McGuire. So maybe that's why you do it. You get him because he's cheaper. Danny Jansen's also out there. He's not a bad hitting catcher. He would probably want more of a full time role, so he's probably going to go to a team that needs closer to full time role at catcher. Where we've got Raleigh, we need a traditional backup guy, basically. Victor Caratini as well could be a decent option, but once again, I think he's probably looking for a little bit more of a full time role. And there might be, I haven't looked at teams that are looking for catchers as much, but like the Phillies are still out there, but I would expect the Phillies to get JT Realmuto. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this catcher market. I'm curious to see who you guys would want as the backup catcher. If you think McGuire could be our best option, Garber is going to be very cheap, so I think he's probably the most likely option. He also knows our pitching staff. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if we got Garver. Obviously, he does leave a bad taste in your mouth after the past two seasons, from what we expected and then what we got. So I get it. He's not amazing. He's not an amazing player. Victor Caratini could be good. Jansen would be good. They'll probably cost a little bit more, especially more than Garver. So we'll see. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Who who do you think we're gonna get for the infield? Who are we gonna get at catcher? Does Jerry Dipoto deserve Executive of the Year? I kind of, mentioned what he has done for this team, not only for the major league roster, but also the prospects that he has hauled in via draft picks and trades. I mean, a top five farm system right now. That doesn't happen by accident. And no, that does not mean we have guaranteed success going forward for the next, 5 to 10 years, but it definitely puts us in a very good position. So shout out to Depoto. Thank you for building this team. I respect you. No, you're not an amazing, you're not the best executive ever, but you've done a very good job. So thank you for building this team. And guys, if you hate Depoto, let me know why. Let me know. You say he doesn't have guts. He's made plenty of gutsy trades over the past 5 seasons that have put us in this position that we are right now. This position that we could argue that we deserve to spend more money. So I'd love to know what you have to say and your reasoning. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me on Mariners Daily here. Please subscribe if you enjoy it, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Have a good one.